Hey guys, it's Sam and this is my spoilery gush for Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. As I said, this video will have spoilers in it, so if you've not read this book, go ahead and check my spoiler-free review, which will be linked on the screen. So as I said in my review, I didn't quite like this as much as I liked Mistborn, but I did enjoy it. So let me just kind of go from the beginning and go from there, because this is kind of like, again, like slower paced book. I'll probably jump around a lot. We'll see where this goes. I didn't really take notes for this one. I'm just gonna kind of wing it, so we'll see what happens. So first off, I loved Vasher. He is my favorite. When he first appeared in the beginning, I was like, yes, he's amazing, I love him. I feel like he reminds me a little bit of Kelsier, and that might be why I like him, but I just really enjoy him. He's grumpy and great, and I think part of the reason I didn't enjoy this as much as I could have is because we had so few chapters in his perspective until the very end. So when he started making appearances and he started teaming up with Vivenna, I was like, yes! Because I've been waiting for him and I love him, and like, oh, I just had so many feelings about him. He's so great, but I'll get to him towards the end as well. But I really enjoyed all of the characters, like, interactions. He was my one that I, like, loved. I loved him and Ciri a lot, and Lightsong. I didn't love Vivenna as much, but I really did enjoy the characters and watching them grow. I thought the whole juxtaposition between Vivenna and Ciri being so different, and Vivenna being this really uptight person, and then realizing that she has to, like, let those things go, and she has a lot of prejudices that weren't founded, and kind of examining the whole thing about, like, the rich versus the poor and poverty and stuff like that, and those dynamics, and how the rich, like, don't even notice the poor at all, and, like, that they aren't actively, in their heads, actively putting them down, but the poor feel that way, and, like, that whole dynamic I thought was really interesting, especially that dynamic within cities, and how much Vivenna changed throughout everything, especially with all of the character twists that we had. So this book, to me, like, can be defined by, and I can't say it in reviews because it's, like, spoilers, but it can be defined by, like, how much twist there is with characters. Like, with Mistborn, I felt like a lot of the twists were very, like, plot-focused twists. With this, I felt like the characters were, like, the twists, because you have all these characters who end up being the bad guy, and you don't think that's who they're gonna be. Like, I was fully not expecting Denth and the crew to be bad people, so, like, when they get revealed as bad people, I was like, oh crap, like, I was not expecting that. Like, when you find out that Tongfa, like, was killing all of his animals, like, he's kind of like a serial killer type person, like, really creepy. Didn't expect that at all. I didn't expect them to be bad. Like, what? And then, at that point, we were, like, primed for, you know, don't expect these characters to be who you think they are. And then even Bluefinger's, like, I really trusted that guy. Like, I really liked him. And then when you find out that, like, he's the one causing all the problems, and the, like, really rude priests were actually the good people, like, all these people that you thought were bad were actually good, and all these people you thought were good were actually bad. That was a cool twist and a very different feeling, because it was, like, I still had a lot of trust in all these characters, and I was like, these characters are who they say they are, and then they're not. And it happened a few times, and I didn't expect it each time. I really liked Ciri and the God King's interactions as well. Before I went into this, I had one commenter tell me that they felt like this was very kind of Hades and Persephone. I see that a little bit, but I see this being more Beauty and the Beast. I wasn't expecting, obviously, him to have his, like, tongue cut out, and then when he, like, eventually did get his, like, powers back because of Lightsong and his, like, just sacrificing himself. That was really great. So I really like him, and if they do have a future book, and if, you know, more books in the series, if Brandon Sanderson writes more like he says he might, then I would love to see more of them, because I really like him as a character, but we didn't get to see a ton of him necessarily, and we saw him as, like, sort of this naive kind of protected character, and he can be such a badass now, and, like, I really want to see more of that. And I really like him and Ciri's relationship. I thought that that was very cute, that it grew in a realistic way, and that it wasn't what people thought at the beginning, and he's so precious, and I just really like their interactions. I really liked when Vivenna and Vasher teamed up finally, and we got to see more of, like, Vasher and Nightblood. Like, oh my god, I love Nightblood so much. Like, what a cool, like, character. I just really liked that, and I liked that the whole thing about, like, how he was formed, and with them being, like, that whole group of people being returned, like, I kind of suspected that a little bit with some things that were said, and then when that was confirmed, and, like, they were all the people from, like, legends of old, and he was Warbreaker. My god! Like, what? Oh my god! And, like, how myths form, and how they change over time, and how people make these people into myths, and all of that coolness, I just really loved that. So, obviously I loved, like, Vasher and Vivenna, and I hope that I kind of mildly ship it, to be honest now. So I hope we get to see more of them. Like, if there's a future book, obviously they're going off and, like, doing stuff. I want to see them. I want them. Like, I want just a whole book devoted to them and their adventures now with, like, little Nightblood and, like, everything. I just love them a lot. And lastly, I do want to talk about Lightsong and the gods and the other return and stuff. And I just love him as a character as well. I love that he always was doubting his, like, religion, and that he was part of religion, he was still very, like, doubtful and dismissive of it. And I just really love stories that have that religious element to them, especially fantasy stories, because it's so important. Like, the culture that you're in and the religion that is dominant affects so many things. So the fact that Brandon Sanderson always injects religion into his world is really awesome for me. So I really enjoyed that element, and just how he was always questioning things, and he, like, was always questioning his priest, and he didn't know anything, and he, like, you think it's gonna go one way, and that, like, he was a detective, and that he did save, like, his, like, lady love, and that's why he came back, and blah blah, and then you find out that he was just, like, a scribe. But he saved his, like, favorite niece, who was, like, the priest who was his brother's, like, daughter. It just gives me a lot of feelings, like, oh my gosh. And how he just sacrificed himself and, like, his breath to help the, like, God King and everything, and, like, help everybody. And he always was in denial about how brave he was, and his last actions were him being really brave and sacrificing himself again, just like it was when he originally died. Like, I just love them. So I really liked this. I liked how everything came together. I liked how everything was revealed. I always love Brandon Sanderson's, like, huge, just bombshell endings, and that is very true for this as well. I just really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as Mistborn, which is crazy because I liked the characters more in this one than I think. Well, no, I just didn't like the main characters in Mistborn, but all the other side characters I loved. So it makes sense this one was a 4-star for me, but I think it's also one that I will enjoy as things go on. I'm also really excited because Hoid was mentioned in here, obviously by name. So I know that Hoid is a character that pops up in different Cosmere books, and he's kind of one of those threads that connects a lot of them. So I'm interested to see more of that. And just, I'm glad that I had, like, that little snippet where I was like, ooh, I recognize that. Like, I know that's a Cosmere thing. Ooh. So that was always fun. But I'm looking forward to reading more Cosmere stuff. I think the next book I'm going to read is Elantris, because I know that's his first one, and people don't tend to love that one as much. And then I'm going to do, like, the Way of Kings stuff and the Stormlight Archives. So, yeah, working my way through Sanderson, one book at a time. So comment down below and let me know what you thought of Warbreaker. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!